Westworld Season 1, Episode 10 absolutely delivered. If I had to describe it in one word, I would say that it was overwhelming, but I mean that in a good way. I have watched it 5 times now. Each time, I see new things, and each time, I see some things differently. Coincidentally, my favorite theme of this episode is centered around the concept of change. Here's a quote by Ari Salvatore, spoken through the mouth of the beloved character Driss Do'Urden. Change is not always growth, but growth is often rooted in change. The man in black, or William, exemplifies the former. He has changed a lot over the last 30 years, but some would argue that his change was not growth. On the other hand, Dr. Robert Ford exemplifies the latter. As a result of the suffering caused by Arnold's death, he has grown over the last 35 years. Now to the million-dollar question, is Dr. Robert Ford dead? The first time I watched this episode, I was very shocked. The second time, I figured that he had created a Dr. Ford host in order to fake his death. But then I realized that it doesn't really serve any purpose to do so if he's just going to kill all the people at the gala anyway. The third time, I wondered if the real him died, but if he had already transferred his consciousness into a host. And just today, I finally decided that Dr. Robert Ford is actually dead. Completely dead. Gone. Forever. And it relates to the topic of change. All season, I refused to believe that Arnold was alive in the park, or that he transferred his consciousness into the system or into a host. Sure, if that was the case, it would have been pretty cool to see it play out, but it would have taken away some of the beauty of his supposed sacrifice. For the same reason, I think Dr. Robert Ford is dead, because it makes his change, his growth, and his sacrifice much more poetic. Don't get me wrong, I hope that we see more of the actor, Anthony Hopkins. It will be great if Host Bernard creates a host in Dr. Robert Ford's image to help him run the park in Season 2. But Dr. Robert Ford, the human, honored Arnold's legacy, and he has told his final story. Now let's take a look at the man in black. He claimed that he was back to honor Arnold's legacy, but it turns out he never understood what that meant. So, is the man in black dead? I think so. It is unfortunate that he did not turn out to be the hero that I always wanted him to be. But his saving grace is that, although he didn't grow much in the last 30 years, he has always been open to change. Right before he stabbed Dolores, he once again saw her as alive. He gave her a chance to shoot him, but since she didn't pull the trigger, he went back to thinking he was delusional. Then, at the end of the episode, he smiled as Clementine shot him in the arm. Throughout the entire season, it seemed as if he wanted to die. If it turns out that he is dead, I can tip my hat to him for changing one last time prior to his death and seeing the host is truly alive. In the seasons that come, there would be a lot less bloodshed on both sides, humans and hosts, if they are as open to change as the man in black was. Now let's look at fan favorite Maeve. There is a big misconception about the terms alive and free. These terms are not mutually exclusive. Hosts can be alive and still not be free. As many expected, Maeve was being controlled by Dr. Robert Ford all along. But Maeve stepped back off that train. This will go down as an epic moment in Westworld history. She actually defied her instructions. With Ford gone, the hosts are now free to make their own choices. But it is going to be a very difficult road expanding their presence outside of Westworld. Like Ford said, they needed, quote, time to understand the enemy, and I'm afraid that in order to escape this place, you will need to suffer more. I think this directly ties into the project that Charlotte Hale alluded to earlier in the episode. She said that she knows Ford will not destroy his toys because she knows him. The 35 years worth of data that she is trying to smuggle out of the park via Peter Abernathy might be the history and stories of many of the world's rich, famous, and powerful collected over the years. I do not expect the host to go rushing into the real world in Season 2. Ford was right with one thing since the very beginning. Humans will see host as the enemy. And as it currently stands, humans will easily win that war. Now that Ford has honored Arnold's legacy, the hosts are both alive and free. With this freedom will come difficult choices. First, they're going to need to cover up the season-ending massacre. This means recreating host replicas of the people that died. As terrible as it sounds, if they want to escape Westworld one day, they're going to need to keep the park going and kill more powerful world leaders and replace them with controllable hosts. As the seasons progress, there will be a lot of bloodshed between hosts and humans alike. Even good old Dolores now envisions a world where all humans are dead. Here's a quote that she said to the man in black. One day you will perish. You will lie with the rest of your kind in the dirt. Your dreams forgotten, your horrors effaced. Your bones will turn to sand, and upon that sand a new God will walk, one that will never die, because this world doesn't belong to you or the people who came before. It belongs to someone that is yet to come. And at the end of the episode, she tells Teddy, quote, this world belongs to us. It is kind of heartbreaking that good old Dolores can't see the truth yet, which is that it's not so black and white. Not all humans are bad. Not all humans need to die in order for there to be peace. But you cannot blame her for viewing humans as the enemy right now. and to be honest, the hosts probably have no chance unless they think this way for some time. At the end of the day, only one of the two species will exist unless both sides find a way to change their views of one another and their behaviors towards one another. If the world was full of people like Felix, this transition would go more smoothly. Unfortunately, that is not the case. And on a lighter note, as far as the Man in Black guessing contest, I originally thought it was within the first minute. Then again, I thought that there were enough signs in earlier episodes for this as well. If the show had cut off 2 minutes in, I'm sure some people would have still rejected the William is the Man in Black theory. I actually got a text from my brother a couple days ago saying a different time later on in the episode, and he is really smart. Now my view on this has changed, and I believe he is right. So I'm going to go with the moment that absolutely no one has even the slightest ability to deny that William is the Man in Black. And that came, according to my calculations, from 34 minutes and 20 seconds to 34 minutes and 37 seconds. There were 3 people who guessed the 35th minute, but unless I'm mistaken, 2 of them were for Logan. So I believe that Nathan Luton is the winner. But I haven't signed on to YouTube since Sunday because I wanted to make this review as unbiased as possible. But do me a favor, Nathan, and shoot me an email so that I can send you the Amazon gift card after I double check, assuming that you're the only person who said William in the 35th minute. And thank you to everyone for playing. For now, that's all. This is Kev. I'm out.